Mekong Delta, 1966. You're on a night perimeter outside a hamlet, sweating through your fatigues. The firing dies down. The jungle doesn't. It whines, it buzzes, it crawls. The danger isn't loud, it's persistent, and it can take you out of the fight without a single shot fired. Men didn't just fear bullets in Vietnam. They feared fever, swelling, blisters that spread, breathing that suddenly stopped. Because when a soldier goes down to an insect-borne illness, the whole unit feels it. One less rifle on the line, one more dust-off flight, one more empty bunk. In this video, you're going to walk through the 4 worst insect and bug threats that put U.S. troops in hospitals: malaria mosquitoes, scrub-typhus chiggers, stinging swarms, and the skin-burn insects that turn small mistakes into medical evacuations. And each one forced U.S. units to adapt in ways most people never hear about. After that first night in the Delta, you learn the first rule: the smallest enemy can be the most reliable. Up in the Central Highlands, 1966 to 1968, the mosquito is the one you can't outshoot. Army medical reporting called malaria the biggest disease problem, especially the drug-resistant falciparum strain that could flatten a man for days, sometimes longer. The numbers were ugly. In 1966, Army records counted about 6,662 malaria cases in Vietnam, and death still happened, even with treatment. Medical charts tracked the rhythm: lows around February or March, then peaks in the wet months, often October or November, when the annualized admission rate surged. This wasn't just feeling sick. It was chills, shaking, confusion, and a fever that could spike fast. A veteran later recalled that malaria was the illness that made tough men look suddenly small, silent, drenched, and scared of the next wave of chills. After-action and medical summaries noted the operational impact plainly. Men missed patrols, convoys ran short-handed, and units lost momentum during critical periods. And once you realize a bite can lead to a hospital cot weeks later, you start scanning your own skin like it's enemy terrain. But the mosquito at least announces itself with that whine. The next one hits you without warning, and you don't feel it until a week later. A few weeks later, you move through scrub and tall grass where you're told to watch for chiggers. They're tiny mites, not insects, but in Vietnam they were treated like a battlefield threat because they carried scrub-typhus. Here's how it works. You brush through low vegetation. The larval mites latch on around your socks, waistband, or armpits. Then, 7 to 10 days later, sometimes longer, you crash. Fever, headache, body pain, and often an eschar, a dark scab at the bite site that looks like a cigarette burn. The real danger is how it disguises itself. In the field, it can look like just another fever until it isn't. Medical officers wrote about cases severe enough to involve multiple systems, men weak, dehydrated, confused, and unable to walk back out. A medic later recalled that the worst part was the delay. A man could look fine on Monday, then be burning up by the next weekend, and no one could point to the moment it started. Psychologically, that delay is poison. It makes you feel like the jungle is inside your own uniform. You start tightening discipline, repellent, treated clothing, checking skin like gear inspection, because now you've learned the jungle can tag you today and collect you next week. And once you're watching your feet and waistline, another threat arrives higher, right at your hands, neck, and face. Down an I-cord near the tree line, you hear it before you see it, an angry, rising hum. Hornets and wasps weren't a daily headline, but when a nest got hit, the result could be immediate evacuation. A single sting might only swell and burn, but for some men, one sting can trigger a life-threatening reaction. Airway tightening, blood pressure dropping, panic turning into collapse.
And if it's a swarm, it becomes a toxin problem. Dozens of stings, rapid swelling, vomiting, shock, and a man who can't keep his eyes open. Unit medical notes and field manuals treated severe sting reactions as urgent because minutes mattered. A veteran later recalled a patrol hitting a nest by accident and suddenly forgetting the enemy entirely. Everyone focused on dragging a screaming man out before his breathing shut down. It does something to your head. You stop trusting the brush. You flinch at harmless buzzing. You start moving slower, cutting different routes, probing trees and roots like they're booby traps. But the most maddening insect casualty wasn't always a sting or a fever. Sometimes it was a tiny smear, one careless swipe, that turned into blistering skin and infection. Back near base camp 1968 to 1969, you're exhausted and the lights pull everything in. That's when rove beetles and other skin-burn culprits show up, small insects that don't bite so much as punish contact.
Crush one against your neck or forearm, and hours later, the burn appears. Blisters, linear streaks, and if it gets near the eye, the swelling can shut it almost completely. Some men called it Nairobi eye, and they learned the hard way not to rub. Army medical reporting tracked skin disease seriously, enough cases to push hospitalization and quarters admissions to rates that hovered around the 30 per 1,000 per year level until prevention programs reduced it closer to the 20 range in 1968. That's not vanity, that's manpower. A veteran later recalled the embarrassment of it. You could survive a firefight, then get pulled off the line because your own hands spread the toxin across your skin in the dark. And once skin breaks, infection follows, especially in heat, sweat, and constant wet. By now, your whole relationship with the jungle has changed. You're still watching the tree line for rifles, but you're also watching your cuffs, your socks, your hands, because the smallest threats keep scoring hits. This is what many people miss about Vietnam. Combat was only part of the attrition. The environment kept grinding units down, quietly, repeatedly, until discipline became a form of survival. Men adapted, treated uniforms, better repellent routines, faster recognition of fever patterns, medics who learned to look for the small signs before a man collapsed. Not because it was comfortable, but because staying in the fight sometimes depended on beating an enemy you could barely see. And if you served there, you remember it. That sound at night, that itch that wouldn't stop, that fever that hit like a hammer. Vietnam didn't just test courage under fire. It tested endurance against everything that crawled, stung, and carried disease, every single day.